fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head and D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Versailles, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Fish Report Live. I'm Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis. We're your hosts. Thanks for joining us. Got the whole crew back again this week. Ken's back this week. TK and Heavy D are back in the sound room. We got Covey and Kearns out in Studio R. And Ken, we missed you last week. You and Heavy D off for the week, but we got through it.
Well, you know, Craig, you had a good replacement in here. You got Covey in here in my seat, and he did a great job, and I appreciate you filling in for me, Covey. But great to be back, Craig. And, you know, I brought some sunshine back with me. You know, the weather's getting nicer. What a great feeling to actually really go out there now and hopefully enjoy the rest of the baseball, softball, and track and field season with some nice weather. It's supposed to be in the 70s next week, Craig. We're talking spring sports, and we're talking postseason already, and a lot of teams are just starting to get into the full swing of things.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I actually, for the first time this spring, feel like it's spring sports season, ready to talk some baseball, softball, and track and field. We're getting into the postseason, like you said. We're going to talk about that tonight. And we got a big interview as well.
Yeah, we do, Craig. Really looking forward to talking to Cole Neikamp, senior baseball player for the Versailles Tigers. Cole's having an outstanding season again with the Tigers, Craig. He's committed to Ohio State University, and looking forward to talking to him about the success of the Tiger program. They're a team there, Craig, loaded with seniors. Got a chance to see him play a couple weeks ago. Really solid from top to bottom, and we'll see what Cole has to say about his Tiger team here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, before we get to that, though, just like we do here every week on the show, we have our weekly poll question. And what do we have tonight, Ken?
Well, Craig, we're talking about media tonight, and other than the Fish Report, which we all know is everyone's number one website that they like to view for sports information, which of these sites do you enjoy going to the most other than Fish Report? Is it the Dayton Daily News, Press Pros Magazine, SCAL Sports, or the Sydney Daily News? I know which one is my favorite, Craig, and I'll let you know that at the end of the show, as well as TK will when he reads those results.
Yeah, if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page on your computer or phone, you can scroll down. Help us answer tonight's poll question. Give us some responses on that. If you're watching us on NK Telco, as Ken just said, TK is going to have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started. And it's Wednesday night, and we had kind of a rare SCAL baseball game tonight, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We had part of a game anyways, a couple innings of it, and Fort Laramie Redskins, Craig, with a big win tonight as they knocked off the Anna Rockets, Craig, which really tightened up the Shelby County League standings. Anna was sitting there undefeated, but now, the Russia Raiders sitting at top of the Shelby County League standings. They're tied with the Anna Rockets. Fort Laramie just a game back with a couple of losses, Craig, but, a long way to go, but we are halfway done with the season now. And, Russia and Coach Kevin Filippo playing very well right now. They run-rolled Fort Laramie last Friday night. Anna's got a solid team. Fort Laramie's solid. But, don't take any of these guys lightly. Russia's beat Jackson Center twice, 2 close games. They got a really good pitcher over there, Jared Francis. Houston, had Anna on the ropes just a few days ago. So a lot of things can happen, a lot of baseball to be played. But, like we expected, Russia, Anna, Fort Laramie sitting at the top.
All right, well, you mentioned tournament already just a little bit ago, and we've got the tournament draw coming up this weekend. I want to talk about that Division IV Troy sectional. Got 12 teams in that sectional that are all going to get seeded here this Sunday. The voting's going on right now. Mm-hmm. But our viewers out there, before this voting comes out on Sunday, they want to know who the top 12 seeds are going to be. So I'm going to have you go through them 1 through 12. We'll start at the bottom. We'll do 4 at a time. I want you to tell our viewers out there who those 12 seeds are going to be. So let's get things started.
I'll be glad to do so. And I'm going to start off at the bottom, and we're going to go with Bradford, Covington, Ansonia, and Fairlawn. From the bottom up, Craig, those 4 teams there, Craig, they're going to have to play basically a play-in game to get into the sectional tournament. And, look for those 4 teams to be those teams playing in that bracket.
All right, well, your next 4, who do you got for 5 through 8?
Well, Craig, here's where it starts to get a little bit tougher, but I'm going to start with 8 being the Bakkens Trojans, 7 Riverside. I've got number 6 at Triad, and people are going to say, Triad, that's a pretty good baseball team. They lost a lot of talent off of last year's team. Still don't take them lightly, Craig, but I'm going to put Triad there at number 6. Mississinawa Valley, Craig, they're having a good year this year. They've got a good overall record. I'm a little concerned about their strength of schedule. I got them sitting at the 5 seed right now. Again, good overall record. Not impressed with their strength of schedule. We're going to put them in the 5 spot.
All right, and most importantly, those 1 through 4, who you got for that?
Well, Craig, here's where it gets real interesting. The 4 seed, Craig, I'm going to give it to the Jackson Center Tigers. I've seen them play twice. They've got a really nice pitcher over there by the name of Jared Francis. He's a junior. They've played Russia twice. He's kept them in the game both times. Jackson Center there, Craig, can be a dangerous team. Number 3 seed, Craig, the Lehman Cavaliers. Off to a decent start this year. They're undefeated in their conference. Again, I question the strength of that schedule in their conference, but a good baseball team. Coach King has always got his Cavaliers playing well. Russia played them last year in tournament. They had a great team last year, so don't take the Cavaliers lightly. Number 2 seed, Craig, the Fort Laramie Redskins, coached by Jeff Sanders over there in his first year, had a big win tonight. I think that solidified the number 2 seed. And Craig, number 1 seed, hands down, the Russia Raiders. Coach Kevin Flippo, team playing very good baseball this year. Craig's sitting at 11-3. They run-ruled Fort Laramie. They've beaten Jackson Center twice. They split with a very good Fort Recovery team. They've got 2 wins over a very good New Bremen team. And all 3 losses, Craig, have come to Division III schools, meaning Anna, Versailles, and Fort Recovery. So hands down, the Russia Raiders number 1 seed, but look for Fort Laramie to be number 2, Lehman 3, and Jackson Center 4. Those will be your top 4 seeds.
Yeah, kind of missing us seeing Houston in there. They're Division III, of course, this year. And like your pick with Jackson Center there at number 4, I wondered if maybe Triad or Mississinawa would slip in front of those, but you like the Tigers, huh?
I look at talent, Craig, not so much records, because when you look at the seeding in these tournaments, you really got to look at, okay, how are the Tigers the best when they got their best pitcher on the team on the mound? And I think that they are a better team than Mississinawa Valley, Triad, and the other ones in the tournament when they got their best pitcher on the mound.
All right, great stuff there, Ken, and thanks for that. Since we're talking tournament, we want to talk a little softball because that draw is going on this weekend as well, and for that we'll go out to Studio R, check in with Covey and Kearns out there. And guys, we just talked about that baseball tournament draw. They've got just 12 teams in that sectional. You guys got a super sectional down there, 24 teams that will get decided in that sectional down there. So they're seeding them, like I said, 1 through 24. And I won't ask you to go through all 24 like Ken did, but how about we'll do the top 4 seeds and maybe give me a sleeper pick or something like that. What do you got for top 4 seeds in that big sectional?
Well, it's a pretty close call for first place for the first seed. And we're going to award it to the Newton Indians here because they had a big win over the Russia Raiders at the Newton Strikeout Cancer Classic over the final of 2-1. I think that was a very close race, Daniel, for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. The Newton's always rich with softball talent, and the CCC as well, and they're dominating that league right now. So hands down, Newton for the number 1 seed.
And right behind them, we're obviously going to go through Russia Raiders here. Dominating STL play. They lost to Versailles this night 8-3. But they have a lot of young talent. Caitlin Monin, for example, is hitting very well. They got a lot of veteran leadership on that team. They're going to be led by that veteran leadership team and looking to get out of the sectional and into the district.
Yeah, for sure. They got stumped last year by Mechanicsburg, but with all those juniors returning from last year, they definitely had that on their goals list at the start of the season to get a high seed in the sectionals and dominate and get out of the sectional for the first time.
And actually, the team that Russia played in the sectional last year, Bradford's coming in at number 3. A little different than what Bradford didn't have last year is they have a freshman pitcher named Skip Miller. Skip pitched an awesome game the other week. I don't know if you heard against Versailles, Daniel, but she had more strikeouts than you in one game. She had 19 strikeouts in one game against the Tigers. Fantastic young pitcher, and especially in softball, pitching can carry you a far ways, and I'm sure she'll be able to do that for the Railroaders. Yeah, that's definitely a big pickup for them. I know they've been possibly down a couple years, but they're pretty good in softball historically, so Skip's just another
another great weapon for them, especially as a freshman. She's already dominating at the varsity level. So for the next 4 years, she's going to be great. And, yeah, set them at the number 3 seed.
Number 4, we're going to go with the most known CCC program in the Covington Buccaneers, having another solid above 500 year, looking to come in the 4 seed, playing the very strong cross-county conference, probably the strongest in the area in terms of softball, and they come in at the number 4 seed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Any team coming out of the CCC is a great team, especially talking softball. I mean, that's one of the top conferences in this area. And even though their record doesn't really show a lot of strength, just coming out of that league, it's really tough to have have a good overall record. So yeah, award them the number 4 seed.
And a sleeper Dana and I both agreed on was the Riverside Pirates. Right now they're sitting 10-2 in the NWCC. I think they had a run roll win over an SCL school the other night. I think it maybe had been Houston, but they're definitely a sleeper team. I don't think a lot of people, some team might take them light because they're in the NWCC with Lehman and Waynesville Goshen and all those other schools, but don't count out the Riverside Pirates. They're generally pretty good in softball, and I think they can give any team that sectional a run for their money.
Yeah, definitely in this sectional. I know there's a lot of teams that come in with maybe that just around 500 record or just slightly above or slightly below record. And definitely with this team sitting at 10-2, maybe they might look over it just with the name Riverside on their jersey, but definitely not a team to sleep on.
All right, guys, great stuff with that. And, we're talking, you mentioned the CCC being a great league, Kearns, on all the teams in there, and certainly I agree with you on that. The SCAL, Rushie's kind of been dominating that league this year, and besides Rushie, I know you got in second place, you got Anna there. Of course, they're Division III, but how about the Fort Laramie Redskins, the Houston Wildcats? They got such a tradition over there, and they seem to be playing okay this season, but you don't have them in your top 4, a sleeper pick, I've noticed.
Yeah, Laramie, they played a pretty good game last week against Rushie. They actually sent them into 12 innings, and Rushie ended up winning 5-4. And Grace Saunders pitched a phenomenal game that game. I believe she went all 12 innings. But I just don't think that with their schedule, I think sitting at 7 and 8, and maybe they just lack a little experience. I just don't see them being a sleeper. I think if you get on top of them early in the game, you can put them in the ground. And also with Houston, they lost a lot last year, and they have an under 500 record right now, not playing the ideal softball that they've been playing lately, and sitting 3-3 in the SCAL. Also, I just don't think they're a sleeper or a top 4 team.
And I guess to solidify your point there a little bit, the Rushie Raiders, again, playing very well in the league at 8-0, but outside of the league, actually just 2-5 with a number of losses there. Again, I guess all 5 of their losses non-conference.
Take nothing away from Coach Baker and the Raiders are not Coach Baker.
Molenkamp,
Coach Molenkamp, I'm sorry. But take nothing away from the Rushie Raiders softball program, Craig. But when you look at the postseason year in and year out, the champions of the Shelby County League technically traditionally don't make it real far in the postseason. So I agree with Covey and Kearns back there. When you got to give some edge to the CCC schools, even Riverside, like you said, who run-rolled Houston here just recently. So, our best wishes to the Raiders softball program and Coach Molenkamp. But to leave Fort Laramie and Houston out of your picture, I'm not saying they're not good softball teams, but got to agree. You got to give credit where credit's due, and given the majority of those seeds to the CCC, I think is a good choice.
All right, great stuff, guys, and thanks for that. Ken, we did talk to Grace Saunders there a few weeks ago on our show and asked her about that in tournament, what it's going to take to get past, to get a little further in tournament, and she mentioned, getting adjusted to that pitching and that fast pitching that they saw last year against teams like Bradford and some of those CCC teams that we talked about.
Yes, it is. Very tough to adjust to that. And 3 or 4 miles an hour can make a huge difference in a pitch of a softball or a baseball as far as that goes. So that's one reason too why you'll see Coach Flippo and the Rushie Raiders baseball team, challenge themselves with some very good non-conference schedule, whether it's against Fort Recovery or Versailles or Minster or playing Kenton Ridge this weekend. I'm sure they're going to see a flamethrower from Kenton Ridge, no matter who it is. So I think you really need to challenge yourself to prepare yourself for the postseason.
All right. And with that, that's going to wrap up our softball talk, and we're going to talk a little baseball, though, in the second half of the show. We're going to take a short break, though, but stay right there because when we come back, we'll talk to Versailles senior Cole Neikamp.
My father said it's time to be
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking some softball and some baseball. Going to talk a little bit more baseball now. And Ken, you mentioned those Versailles Tigers. Of course, one big reason for their success is their senior pitcher over there, Cole Neikamp. We're happy to have him live on the phone right now. Cole, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Well, listen, congrats on a great start to the season. I think you guys are overall 10-2 right now. Unfortunately, you play in the toughest baseball conference in the state, so that only gets you second place right now. But listen, I know there's still time, and you're certainly hoping to get back into that first place position. But Cole, tell me, what do you enjoy about this season so far?
This season I just really enjoyed having fun with my friends and really getting to bond with them a lot and winning some games along the way.
Well, listen, I got a chance to watch you a couple times this year. Once was against our Russia Raiders, and kind of a tough one for the Raiders. You guys ruled us, but got a chance to watch you a week later when you took on Fort Recovery. And, that game for you went 8 innings of no-hit ball, was actually shutting them out, and unfortunately you did end up losing there in the 9th inning. But Cole, I got to say it's one of the better performances I've ever seen from a pitcher against a very good team. How does that rank for you as far as your pitching performances, that game against Fort Recovery?
Yeah, that game was one of the most exciting games I'm playing in a long time. And it was pretty much just like a back-and-forth battle between me and Nick. And playing with Nick throughout the summer, you just want to go out and compete against him and try and get the W for the team, but didn't turn out that way. But it's always a nice pitching performance in the end.
Hi, Cole. This is Ken Francis, and let's talk a little bit about the rest of your teammates. But I got a chance to see you guys play. You're a very senior-dominated team. Give our listeners out there a list of some of your other seniors on the team, what they contribute to the, what maybe positions they play, and some of the other guys.
Yeah, Noah Richards, he plays left for us. He's a really good arm as well on the mound. He eats up a lot of innings for us, and he also gets on base a lot, which scores a lot of runs for our team. Then Elliot Brown, he's been a pretty solid first baseman this year. Just about every ball we throw to him, he's either digging it out or catching it, and he also swings it pretty good as well. And no Grizz. Grizz has been one of the hottest hitters on the team the past several games, and about every ball you hit to him in the outfield, and you can just about guarantee he's going to catch about every one of them. So it's a great feeling as a pitcher, knowing that you got him in the outfielder. And Curtis Richling. Curtis has been one of the biggest bats in our lineup the past 2 years now, and this season he's just been doing the same thing, getting on base and hitting balls in the gap. He also has been a really solid catcher. Being a pitcher, having a guy like Curtis behind the plate makes you feel good because you can throw just about anything to him and he's going to knock it down, and he also has a really good arm behind the plate. Then we got Keaton Macedoni, Bird. He's been hitting the ball well. He always has been throughout the past 3 years. He's been getting on base for us, and in the outfield, he tracks just about every ball down you can think of. And as a pitcher, that's just a dream come true. And he's been eating up a lot of innings for us on the mound, throwing really good.
All right, cool. Let's talk a little bit about your upcoming schedule. It starts with a big game Thursday night. You take on the St. Henry Redskins. St. Henry just had a big win over Coldwater last week. They're sitting at 5-1 in the MAC right now. Game ahead of you guys. You guys got 2 league losses. Several teams in front of you there with 1. So big game with St. Henry. What do you know about the Redskins? What's it going to take? Are you going to be on the mound tomorrow night? And what's it going to take to beat the Redskins?
Oh, well, I do know they have a pretty good pitcher who just shut out Coldwater, so we're going to have to probably face him. So we're going to have to string some good at-bats together, put some runners on base, and score some runs. Then on the defensive side, I'm just going to have to keep the ball low and let my defense work for me and not give up too many hits, too many big hits, and that's about it.
Friday night, you guys got a fun game. You're going to take on, first of all, a very competitive team in CHCA, Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, down at Wright State University. I've been to Nishwich Stadium before. I've seen several games played there. AstroTurf infield. Tell us a little bit about that game. It's going to be a lot of fun. What are you looking forward to going down to Wright State and playing baseball?
Yeah, it's always a great experience playing on turf because you feel pretty good, and it's just always a great feeling playing on like a sweet field like that. And we get a chance to play like a really good team in CHCA and to show how good we really are.
Well, listen, Cole, you're going to be playing on a lot of those kind of diamonds starting next year when you're playing at The Ohio State University. It's probably pretty neat for some of those kids on your team that won't get that opportunity to play on diamonds like that, to have that whole experience down there, as Ken said, there at Wright State. So I'm sure you have teammates looking forward to that as well. But let's talk about Ohio State a little bit. As far as going to Ohio State, did Coach Beals, Greg Beals over there, did you actually have to reach out to him? Did he reach out to you? How did you get recruited by Ohio State exactly?
It all started after my sophomore year. I played for Ohio Elite, and my coach, Corey Valentine, really has like good connections with a bunch of coaches like in the Ohio area. And he connected with Coach Beals, and Coach Beals called me up asking if I wanted to come on a visit. Then he just offered me when I came on the visit.
As far as tell me something as a pitcher, what attracts them to you? Do you have to throw like a certain mile per hour on your fastball? Is it about off speed pitches? Is it about your build? What exactly attracts you to someone at a big university like that?
I think it's kind of like the build and like how tall you are, kind of how hard you throw, and like what off-speed pitches you got, and like what they can do with you once you get there.
A little bit of everything, then, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. What is your velo at right now?
I haven't been clocked in a while, so I really don't know.
Well, listen, one more question before we let you go. I think we're probably the only ones around here that actually call you Cole, and that's because you have a nickname of Smoke. I hear everybody from Versailles call you Smoke. I got to ask you, where exactly did that nickname come from?
It all started when I was little. I threw kind of hard on the mound, and my parents just came up with it, and it kind of really stuck from there, and everyone's really called me that since.
That's good to hear. I'm glad that it's about your fastball. I thought maybe you like to play with fire or something. So
Nope.
All right, Cole. Listen, that's good stuff. We'll see you actually back on Russia again next Friday night. We're playing a little home and home series with the Tigers this year, which is a lot of fun. So, and other than that, good luck to you the rest of the season, and hope you guys make a nice postseason run.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, and that was Versailles senior Cole Neikamp, or Smoke, as they like to call him in Versailles there.
That's right, yeah. He, I've never seen him pitch, Craig, but, we'll see once, see how he can do in the postseason. He's got a big game Thursday night against St. Henry, and like you said, they got a fun game Friday night as well down at Wright State.
Yeah, well, like I said, got a chance to watch him against Fort Recovery in that game after Russia, and he was going against Nick Thwaites there, a very fast thrower for Recovery. He throws a little bit harder than Cole, actually, and but both of them were really going at it. Actually, Nick only went 5 innings in that game. I think he was on kind of a pitch count, all due to the temperature and everything. Neikamp, he was just toughing it out. He went 8 innings there and shutting out the Fort Recovery innings for 8 innings, and like I said, unfortunately lost that game. But it was quite a show between two good pitchers.
Yeah, it would have been, and I'm sure it was. Actually, Craig, I had a chance when we played Fort Recovery last Saturday over here in Russia. Had a chance to talk to Coach Jerry Halp of the Fort Recovery Indians before the game started, and I tried to convince Coach Halp that I thought it would be a great idea if Nick Thwaites got to pitch a couple innings over there at Russia, because he says, why do you say that? I said, because I want to see him pitch. I said, I want to see what 92 looks like up front and personal. So, but unfortunately for the Raiders and the Russia fans, we did not get to see him pitch. But, there's a kid right there that's got great velocity and a great bright future ahead of him as well.
That's for sure. And speaking of bright future and good kids, let's go back to the sound room and check in with TK and Heavy D. There they are right there, the brains of the operation, Ken, back there. running everything for us. And guys, what the heck do you know back there?
Well, I'll tell you what, hot off the press, tonight the Bakken School Board had a special meeting. They announced their new boys basketball coach, Sean Powell, who replaced longtime former coach Brett Meyer, recently stepped down. Coach Powell was an assistant coach for Lima Perry last season, was a former high school All-Ohio honorable mention basketball star for Lima Division II, Lima Shawnee back in 1998. A lot of respect for Coach Meyer. He's been with the Bakkens program, helped to build that program. You talk about a good role model for the kids. Got to know Coach Meyer a little bit on the golf course. He was a coach for the golf team as well. A lot of respect for Coach Meyer. Kind of a little bit of an end to an era there for the Trojans. We'll see what Coach Powell has to offer the Trojans going forward, though.
Yeah, Coach Meyer actually on our show. It's been a number of years ago, but we did get a chance to talk to him once on this show, and they've got a new era starting over there in Bakkens.
They do, and Craig, I think it's a good hire. I don't know the guy personally, but I've heard some things about him, and I think he's going to bring a lot of energy and a lot of excitement to the Bakkens basketball program. And like everyone knows, they got a lot of talent coming up. They have a very talented 8th grade class, a very talented 9th grade class. So I think things are shaping up over there in Bakkens, and we'll see what they can do.
All right, and TK, we'll get to you here in just a second because we're going to have Ken read our poll question, and we'll go back to you for the answer.
Poll question tonight is, other than Fish Report, which we know is everyone's number one source for sports, what is your favorite? Is it the Dayton Daily News, Press Pros Magazine, SCAL Sports, or the Sydney Daily News? TK, back to the sound room. What do the telemetrics have to say tonight?
Telemetrics say the Dayton Daily News is the top source for our viewers for sports information, followed by SCAL Sports, that new website that just came up, I believe, last fall, and is doing a very nice job of keeping all those stats, schedules, results, and everything right up to date and keeping everybody in touch with what's really going on in the league. So those are your two top winners, Dayton Daily News and SCAL Sports.
I'm a little surprised we didn't have Matt's stats as one of the choices tonight. Big dog Matt Zerker he's got like stats back to like the 1795 series. Matt's stats should have been on the list.
He limits himself to basketball, so he's got a narrowed fan base. But it's a place I go to a lot in the fall.
Well, that SCAL Sports is hard to keep up with in the spring with all these cancellations, postponements, rescheduled games, and he does do a pretty good job of that. And I like the Dayton Daily News as well. So
absolutely, I'm agreeing as well.
What about Press Pros, TK? No votes for that?
We got a vote. They got 7% for Press Pros and 7% for Sydney Daily News.
Yeah, that's sounds good to me.
All right. Well, they're all good websites, I guess. It depends on what you like to read, exactly.
That's right.
Or what town you might be from, too.
Uh-huh. All right.
All right, guys. Good stuff there, and thanks for that. Do want to say thanks to our guest tonight over there in Versailles, Cole Neikamp. Special thanks to him. Thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew, we're all going to be back again next week, same time, same place. Going to be talking a little bit of softball next week. We're going to have Bradford coach Sean Schaefer on this program. We're going to talk about the tournament draw and those Bradford Railroaders, so stay tuned for that. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report, hanging at the fish report, hanging at the fish report, hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report, hanging at the fish report.